Whenever I'm working on a painting, I'm constantly trying to push my design and find things that are more interesting. So right now I'm just changing the shape of things a little bit. I'm trying to think of shapes that we haven't used in our other NPCs so that it'll look different from a distance. The player should be able to look at it and say, oh, that's a Lich Priest and not a Tomb Guard. Now I'm looking for ways to break up the shape of the necklace and trying to find ways to include different colors in the necklace so that it's not just gold. It'd be nice to add some of that blue into his necklace. Now that I have that blue in his necklace, I'm going to try adding it to his headdress as well. I'm going to put it in the center of these feathers. I tend to jump around a lot when I'm working. I usually don't spend too much time in one area. I like to work the whole canvas. I think one of the reasons my paintings take longer than they should is because I explore a lot of different options while I'm painting. I usually don't have a clear-cut design in mind when I start. I just kind of work through designs as I'm painting. I wanted to try something out with his head instead of just having it bare. So I'm thinking maybe I'll try some kind of ornamental element on his head. I mean, maybe some kind of scorpion could be cool. I mean, it's easy to rough these things in quickly just to see if it would look good or not. Most of the time it doesn't look good. But I think it's worth exploring different ideas. So yeah, I'm not really happy with that, so I'm gonna delete that and try something else. Maybe he has some kind of bone type things holding his headdress on. Or maybe some kind of claws. But I'm not really happy with any of these ideas either. Sometimes if I don't like something, I can salvage it by distorting it or moving individual pieces around. A lot of times I run into the problem of not really liking a design just because I only spent a few seconds and put down a couple brush strokes. But if I take the time and actually render it out, I can get a much better idea of if that design is going to work or not. Plus it doesn't take very long to render it out. So none of those options really caught my eye, so I'm just going to leave it and move on to something else. I like to rough things in quickly just so that the art director can see kind of where I'm going with things before I start refining. As you can see, I don't really use any reference when I'm creating these characters. Sometimes I'll look at my own hands if the pose is hard, but other than that, I don't really look at anything. I think sometimes that may be a detriment to my paintings, but as a concept artist, I usually don't really have time to shoot any reference. I just kind of have to get things done quickly. I mean, in illustration work, you have time to find models and take photos, but I actually don't do that for my illustration work either. I blame laziness for my lack of reference material. I think most of the time you can just find what you need on the internet. And if you have a strong background in anatomy classes, then you can kind of extrapolate what you find from the internet into something that'll work for your concept. Hands and feet are probably the two most challenging things on a body to draw, so if you spend time to do some good hands and feet, I think people really pay attention to your concept. So right now I'm just adding some little details to the hands, making them look a little rotten. I'm still actually changing the position of the fingers, even though I have something down that looks pretty good already. Just trying to add a little bit more movement in his hands. For the most part, I have the basic design down, so from here on out, a lot of it's just refining the shapes that I already have. I mean, there are a few little details that I still need to iron out, like his bracers and his greaves, but that'll come along as I'm refining them. Every so often, I'll go through my layers and merge as many as I can, just so that my file size isn't humongous. I also save a lot of iterations of my painting just in case one file gets corrupt or I lose something, or if I want to go back to a previous design, I'm able to do so easily. And it also lets me go back and put together tutorials like this. His hand is still pretty big, so I'm going to move it around and resize it a little bit, clean up the edges. Most of his headdress is bronze, so this bird head will give me a good opportunity to add another type of texture, which is bone. Should be a good contrast to all the metal.